Well, it's fair to say the next big divisive cultural, racial, and social false flag will be pretty strange to deal with. As that's probably what the front lines will look like, all of this, as Alex Jones and Tucker Carlson just sat down for an extremely epic 2-hour-long interview where a part of it, they talked about old false flags and now, more importantly, new false flags that they are warning us about that we are on the precipice of. Now, what are they specifically warning about? As, of course, I looked at their assessments here, and it concludes something that I've been saying, but I've been saying it just a little bit differently, as I think both of them just got one aspect of this just a little bit wrong that I'm going to be extrapolating in this particular video. But otherwise, they hit the nail on the head for what I think will be a very big, galvanizing Pearl Harbor-like social attack that will be used as an excuse to derail and destroy the last remaining bits of civil liberties that we still have here inside of the United States. We don't have a lot, and we should keep on what we have left as much as we can and try to expand that, as, of course, our rights are like a muscle. And right now, those muscles are not doing well. They're not atrophied. They're not strong. They're not pumped. They are under attack, especially with people who criticize one certain country. Whoa, we won't get there. We won't get there in this video. We'll get it in future videos here. But I decided to announce this because it's not only that I have, just 20 plus years of knowledge in this specific realm, studying, looking into this, looking into the history, the documents, and all of the things that have been building up and crescendoing, as we have been able on this independent media broadcast to call things out way before they happen. I'm able to give a lot of people some important tips, some important advice for the storms ahead of us. And it's fair to say that this year definitely is going to be one with a global shifting major event that will change the world forever. As, of course, there are a lot of different cycles, and the cycles that coincide with this year are the ones that happened in 2001 and all the ones that also happened during the fall of the Berlin Wall. Major changes will come. A lot of people predict that these changes will actually be ones that will transform our current way of life. As a lot of people are saying, yep, I agree. Lisa Elizabeth is like, I can't take much more, Luke. I need a break. You're not going to get one. This year is going to be something else here. And I'm making that prediction based off all the people that I'm talking to, all of my own independent research cycles. I talk to a lot of woo-woo, hippy-dippy people as well that are connected to some of their own kind of weird energetic sources as well. And trust me, the responses here are pretty based here. I like some of the responses here. But we got a little bit of this kind of extrapolation, this kind of hint at what's coming here from Tucker Carlson and Alex Jones here that said this in their epic interview.
I want to make a prediction because I just want to be on tape saying this. I'm going to say it again even more clearly this time. And of course, I hope I'm wrong. I pray I'm wrong. But I do think a lot of the really crazy, bitter, ethnic hate that you see on social media is fake. It's people are saying it, don't mean it.
We're also living in a dead internet theory kind of scenario where a lot of the stuff that we are seeing, specifically with comments, with likes, with upvotes, with views, all of that is being engineered. It has been engineered for a very long time. The Israelis were really great at creating sock puppet accounts, and of course the United States followed suit. Foreign governments are also doing this, and this is a way to kind of hijack the conversation, hijack civil society, and steer them, especially now with artificial intelligence and quantum computing, to create scenarios and perspectives and mindsets in human beings that are not naturally there, but are propelled forward in what is perfectly described as a psyop in prelude to a false flag. That's exactly what's happening here. And I think what we're seeing here is something that has had the seeds sown into it all the way back in 2012, right after Occupy Wall Street, the corporate media. Race, black people, great, white people, horrible, blah, 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 nonstop. Just Asperger's just splurging out just about this racial divisive nonsense that has been hijacking the left's real causes. The left used to care about, big corporations screwing you over. They used to care about, the banking system screwing people over. They used to care about the military-industrial complex taking people's lives. They used to care about that stuff. They used to care about civil liberties. They no longer care about that. They care about mumbo-jumbo nonsense when it comes to cutting off your frickin' genitalia and other insanities regarding, of course, land that is in the Pachacua people's name. Again, all utter frickin' nonsense. That conversation, that psyop was real, and it destroyed a major force against the establishment that made it for the establishment.
I think it's like, the Klansmen you'd see marching, and you're like, there are no Klansmen. And you're like, what?
Yep, and there's a long record and history of the FBI infiltrating a lot of these right-wing groups, and then in many instances even running them. So when you look at, the racists, the Klansmen, the insane, angry people, a lot of them are usually FBI agents. Now, on the internet, you have this tenfold, especially with a lot of people being bought off, a lot of people just doing what they think is the normal thing that they're supposed to do based off the algorithm that is carefully curated, so they say and believe certain things. And this is why I've always been screaming out against audience capture, because there's things I could say and do that could get a lot of views. But I refuse to do that. I want to talk about the things that I care about deep down, and therefore our YouTube channel has paid a big price for that. And we were one of the first YouTube channels to ever be demonetized. And when we started the bestpoliticalshirts.com. We're going to play you the full clip and then get into the context of where I think Tucker and Alex are wrong in just a little bit. Before I do, you could get the shirts that I'm wearing in these videos, all exclusively on the bestpoliticalshirts.com. The shirt I'm wearing right now says, "Don't nuke me, bro." I think it's an important one. In today's modern context, especially with all the psyops that are pushing Donald Trump closer and closer to create one of the biggest mistakes of his presidential political career, and that is, of course, trying to bomb Iran's nuclear weapons programs. Again, lots of fake news, lots of psyops about that. Call out the psyops, call out the nonsense, and get the shirt. Express yourself. Don't be afraid to be who you really are as a human being. We got some really great funny shirts. We got some ridiculous shirts. It's really awesome seeing people wear these shirts, and I really appreciate all the people who do get something, because it supports us, but also it supports you. It creates a situation where you're able to actually speak your mind. You're actually able to be the truest version of yourself, and it's really something else when you're kind of walking around and it's like, oh man, and you see a fellow person that's not falling for the psyops, that's not falling for the fake news, that's not falling for the propaganda, and you're like, yeah, maybe all hope isn't lost. Maybe the online internet world that we're all forced to be glued to, maybe that's not the real world that we're living in. And you realize that when you touch grass and when you wear a T-shirt and you have a lot of people high-fiving you, a lot of people like, yo, that's great. Some liberals are like, I can't believe you're wearing that shirt. We have a Kamala Harris one with her with the Henny bottle. Woo! That tricks the leftists. That's funny. I love wearing that one. And because they're like, oh yeah, you support Kamala, like I do. And then they look, and then she's like, she's all drunk and messed up with the Henny bottle, and then like, those expressions, I love seeing them in real life. You should too. Get the shirts on the bestpoliticalshirts.com. Click the link down in the description below. And I will hopefully see you in the general public here. As of course, let's continue on with this clip here, because it's very, very important to kind of tell you exactly what these guys are talking about. Forewarning about big problems coming our way here, especially with our social, economic, racial discourse.
And of course, you find out that it's fake, and it's designed to convince people that there's like a lot of roiling ethnic hatred that doesn't really exist, and that's a predicate.
Yeah, Patriot Front.
Exactly. It's Charlottesville, but that's happening online right now, and I know that it is, and I think that at some point, I pray I'm wrong, but there's going to be an act of violence, ethnic-inspired violence, of hate-inspired violence. Actual hate, like killing people, and I really hope I'm wrong, but I feel like this is real, and that event will be used to shut down free speech.
Now, who's going to, of course, do this? Well, foreign governments, if they would want it to be advantageous, they would have fake bots, fake accounts, and they would be spurring this on because they want to see America fight each other, so we're weak, so they could come and conquer us. That's one prevailing theory, but I think what the real theory is here is that the intel agencies that control big tech social media, that tell them what to do, tell them what to post, tell them who to censor, are the ones that not only invested and helped start up a lot of these companies like Google and Facebook, but more importantly, those are the companies controlling the algorithms that are pushing for this because they need an excuse, they need a false flag in order to take away your civil liberties. We still have some civil liberties remaining, and those civil liberties are in danger, especially during a national emergency where martial law could be declared, and then your rights just have to be taken away from you. That's the type of situation that has unfolded time and time again. And it will probably be attempted to be done again, especially to subvert Donald Trump, who is half in, half out of the kind of globalist establishment narrative when it comes to his foreign policy and domestic policy that, again, is definitely shaking things up here.
On social media.
100
because that is the threat. And you saw it with TikTok, like, oh, we need to ban TikTok because China owns it. No, nothing to do with China. It had everything to do with opinions that the people in charge didn't like being expressed there. And it's like, we're just going to, and the Congress went along with it. But if there's an act of violence and innocents are murdered, and I pray that doesn't happen because I hate that above all, but it has happened and I feel like it could happen again. And people say, and a lot of good people will go along with it, just like they went along with the censorship of you and the destruction of your life because they were told like he's bad. He had something to do with murdering children. And then people just shut down. They're like, I don't know. Alex Jones is associated with murdering children. So whatever they do to Alex Jones, like, is fine.
And I can't tell you how many times in front of my family, people walk up and they go, you killed those kids.
Exactly.
And I'll always go, really? I did, huh? And why am I walking around? And then just like, well, you.
Ethnic division online, it's clearly bad. I mean, there are people who have, views that are, are mad at other ethnicities. I mean, that's real. Okay. But there are also big actors who are not real. They're doing it on purpose.
And we know.
Yep. And this is the important part here where they kind of hint at, like, we know more to the story than we're letting on to. Now the racial component is where I think they're partly wrong, and I'll explain why in just a little bit.
They are.
Yes, we do know who they are.
And for strategic reasons.
I don't want to get involved in all that filth, but
let's just say we've seen the documents separately.
100%. And they're stoking this stuff. And maybe it just organically inspires someone to commit murder, a mass murder. And again, I just pray, as someone who hates all violence, to say it again, I pray that's not the case. But
let's just say this. The people they're mainly attacking are the ones financing them. It's the oldest trick in the book, Hegelian dialectic. And so just be aware of that, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, that's a big one. That's a big warning here. As of course, they do talk about the racial component, and that's a big one, especially what is happening with the Carmelo Anthony case in Texas, the 17-year-old that stabbed another 17-year-old in the heart over a seating argument. The guy couldn't leave a place where he wasn't supposed to be to the point where he had to escalate the situation and take someone's life. As we have people rallying behind this killer and raising hundreds of thousands of dollars for him, as individuals are saying, what? Are you freaking kidding me here? As we just now got, a perspective of what was going on here. As some people are saying, there's going to be a video. People are saying that video is released. It's going to create another George Floyd BLM type of scenario that could unfold. And I've been saying probably will be unfolding in the United States, especially during the summer months when protests are at their highest here. But Jack Posobiec here points out, Carmelo Anthony could have just walked back to his tent or gone under the bleachers to avoid the rain. Stairs were right there. Instead, he chose to provoke a situation and escalate it with extreme violence. Yeah, that to me definitely isn't a form of self-defense here. Now, I know some people are arguing self-defense here, and I know individuals like Tim Pool are getting a lot of flack for it. But to be fair, if you watch the full kind of perspective here, it makes the argument for self-defense, but then also says we don't know exactly what happened here. We're going to wait to see what happens here. And there's, a lot of choice words. But I definitely disagree with Tim Pool's assessment here, personally. And to me, this is definitely not a case of self-defense, since, and again, a lot of people are like, it's a Kyle Rittenhouse type of situation. No, it's not. It's actually far different than that. Kyle Rittenhouse had people chasing him. Kyle Rittenhouse tried to run away. Kyle Rittenhouse had people grabbing his firearm, trying to rip it away from him, scaring him. And again, you could see Kyle Rittenhouse trying to de-escalate, trying to run away, and then people just were coming at him with trying to bludgeon him with physical force. And if you look at the case-by-case kind of scenario here with Kyle Rittenhouse here, clear case of self-defense. Now, granted, we still don't have a video. We still don't know exactly what happened here. We got some conflicting reports about potentially a scuffle or potentially being grabbed here. Still, there wasn't any type of threat against his life. All right. When someone's chasing you, trying to rip away your gun, that's a threat against your life here. When someone's trying to bash you in the head with a skateboard, that's a threat against your life. Let's just say the self-defense case here. Let's just steel man this here. Let's just say the self-defense case is real here. You get grabbed. Okay. That's different. Now, it's a lot different than being put in the chokehold. You get put in a chokehold, that's a legitimate kind of threat against your life because you could die. You can't die from being grabbed, okay? That doesn't justify a lethal use of force to plunge in a knife into someone's heart, okay? So that's how the situation is different. I can't believe I even have to explain it. Now, let me talk about how I believe Alex and Tucker are a little bit wrong here, because I've been hinting at this for quite a while, and I've been saying as soon as the Luigi Mangione situation happened, I'm like, okay, they're moving away from the race stuff because it really didn't work. A lot of people are just calling it out, and you see the kind of inverse of the propaganda that was propelled during the BLM propaganda. We're seeing the actual statistics, the actual numbers, the actual kind of crime stats that are also being manipulated, by the way, heavily in order to deflect the actual reality of the situation. But the reality of the situation already is very severe. And these situations that happened with Carmelo Anthony have happened a lot, and they do continue to happen a lot. It's just now we're having a discourse about it. So this is the inverse of what happened during BLM. Because BLM, they were saying, white people are killing us. The statistics don't prove that. Police officers are taking our lives. The statistics don't prove that. Quite the opposite is happening here. And now we're finally having a discussion about it. And yes, race is a component to it. And will white people get up in arms? I don't think so. I don't see them doing a BLM Summer of Love type of stuff. I don't see that happening here at all. So that's where I see the misnomer. But what I do see happening is the left becoming more and more obsessed with the Luigis of the world and the kind of economic inequalities in this world here. So I do see the ramping up and the building up and the lionizing of Luigi Mangione in a totally incorrect way, where this is going to be more of a class thing. Because, again, the race thing, people online have been able to, of course, totally inverse that conversation from where it was in 2020, okay? And where it was in 2020 was toxic, it was full of lies, it was full of crap, it was full of propaganda. Now, we're dealing with a completely different scenario, and I think that the intel agencies, the rogue people that control everything, they had to wipe the slate clean, and they're like, yeah, those evil CEOs, they're hurting people. Ooh, look at this Luigi guy. Look at his manifesto. Look. You want to see it? Yeah. And there are some lunatics that really love him. That's not a good situation. And I think this is the true kind of thing that is being shaped up here against Donald Trump, because Donald Trump is the billionaire. Elon Musk is the billionaire. We're seeing the protest against Elon Musk here, private businessman. And now with the big foothold within the government, that's making big changes within the government. But now the businessman, the entrepreneur, the CEO, and the Republicans, and now they're shaping this big kind of false flag operation from the haves and the have-nots rather than black and white. That's what I believe is really kind of happening here. That's what I believe is really being engineered here. Could I be wrong? Could it just be a complete race perspective here? Yeah. I could admit that I'm wrong here. Check out the interview that Tucker Carlson did with Alex Jones. It's a great one. If it's on YouTube, we're going to connect it down below so you guys could watch it here. And the two went into some very interesting kind of stories here, especially with just the legal lawfare that was used against Alex Jones, which, again, was just absolutely cruel and evil. As, again, Jones made some very important predictions here. Call that a lot of really horrible things that have happened in this world. And he's a man that I believe has done a lot of things exposing the truth. And when you have Tucker Carlson and Alex Jones saying, hey, guys, we saw the documents. We see what's going on here. Be careful. There's going to be a false flag here. Once again, I'm saying it once again. You should listen, because these men were previously right about. It's amazing to see the evolution of Tucker Carlson, and that evolution wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for Alex Jones. So shouts out to Alex Jones. and you got to pay respect where respect is due. I think these warnings are important. I think they do deserve to be heard. If you agree, share this video. Get the shirts right now on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. Speak your mind, express yourself, love yourself. Stay tuned for more, all here exclusively on youtube.com/wearechange.